It was a crisp autumn morning in Cedar Ridge when Monica, clad in a pristine blazer and wielding a tablet like a scepter, stormed onto my front lawn with a cease and desist letter pinned to a glossy pamphlet. I was pruning my roses, my scruffy mutt Rusty gnawing a stick nearby, when she announced, "Your refusal to comply with community standards is a legal violation, and we're suing." Her voice carried the weight of someone who believed she owned the cul-de-sac. I smirked, assuming it was a neighborly jest, but the letter was real stamped, notarized, and accusing me of aesthetic sabotage. The absurdity? I'd never joined the Cedar Ridge Homeowners Coalition, and I had a weathered property deed to prove it. Monica, however, strutted like she was the mayor of our sleepy hillside, and I was the troublemaker daring to defy her reign. What she didn't know, what would later make a courtroom erupt in chuckles, was that my land held a secret, tucked in a faded envelope from my grandfather, proving I owned more than my modest bungalow. It all started when I inherited the house on the edge of Cedar Ridge, a quaint community where folks chased a postcard-perfect vision of suburbia, funded by coalition fees that paid for everything from synchronized lawn ornaments to mandatory hedge heights. My grandfather, Walt, a retired mechanic with a penchant for defying authority, had bought the plot before the coalition existed, when the ridge was just fields and ambition. His deed included a clause, etched in ink as stubborn as he was, exempting his land from any future homeowners group. Monica either missed this or chose to ignore it. Days after I settled in, setting up a birdhouse I'd carved myself, she appeared, ranting about its visual discord and claiming my porch light was one watt too bright. I asked her to leave. She insisted my yard was communally accountable. As coalition president, nobody recalled electing her. She spoke in a tone that turned requests into edicts, her perfume sharp as citrus and spite. She returned twice that week, griping about my gravel path, then my unapproved mailbox. Her brother-in-law, Ted, showed up with a badge from a fishing club, inspecting my fence for structural nonconformity. I brushed it off, expecting her to fizzle out, until the lawsuit hit. The letter demanded I join the coalition or face penalties for disruptive landscaping. I laughed at the phrase until I called their attorney, a retired dog groomer named Phil, who sounded baffled. Monica was betting I'd fold. I didn't. I dug into Walt's old safe, finding a folder labeled Coalition over my cold corpse. Inside were the deed, zoning permits, and a letter from the town clerk confirming my exemption. I phoned my cousin, Emily, a land use attorney who owed me for bailing her out of a bad lease. She cackled at Monica's flimsy case and my ironclad documents. Monica, undeterred, escalated her crusade. She held urgent neighborhood meetings, distributing flyers with my photo, labeling me a hazard to harmony. She claimed my birdhouse attracted undesirable wildlife, and my rebellious attitude threatened property values. One of her cronies tried snapping pictures of my recycling bins at dawn. Another measured my grass with a ruler. I wasn't angry, I was fascinated by her audacity. I tried reasoning with her, offering coffee on my porch, showing her the deed. She sipped, sneered, and said, "Exemptions are just excuses for chaos." That's when I realized this wasn't about rules, it was about control. Things spiraled. A citation appeared, printed on coalition letterhead, signed Head of Standards, fining me $500 for unharmonious curb appeal. I hung it on my fridge. Monica rallied neighbors, warning of community erosion. Someone keyed my mailbox. Another neighbor whispered an apology at the gas station. I grinned, bought chips, and prepped for court with 2 binders. One with Walt's documents, another with coalition missteps, including Monica's deranged social media posts. The court date loomed. I pressed a shirt. Monica arrived in a suit sharper than my pruning shears. She didn't know her garage sat on a sliver of my land, a detail I'd saved for the judge. In court, Monica unleashed a melodramatic speech about unity and standards, waving a coalition charter that looked like it was printed at a copy shop. Judge Larson, a no-nonsense woman with a dry wit, skimmed it, then turned to me. I handed over my binder deed, permits, and a survey showing Monica's property overlap. She snorted, eyed Monica, and said, "You're suing someone outside your authority, who never signed your agreement, and whose land you're partially trespassing on." Monica blanched. I noted her coalition was overcharging neighbors beyond its boundaries. The judge dismissed the case, warning of harassment charges if Monica persisted. Her allies slunk out, speechless. Back in Cedar Ridge, Monica's defeat sparked murmurs. Neighbors who'd bowed to her stopped nodding. Someone left me a pie with a note. Sorry about the mailbox. A cookout once forbidden drew dozens. No coalition oversight. Monica's house went quiet. Whispers hinted at a sale. But she didn't quit. She formed the Cedar Ridge Unity Network, hiring a consultant, off an online ad to issue new notices. A sign appeared. Welcome to Cedar Ridge, guided by the Unity Network. She targeted kids with future stewards kits, packed with stickers and pens. Her harmony circles peddled feel-good jargon to mass control. I fought back with a Cedar Ridge Liberty brief, sharing my deed and court win. Neighbors rebelled, birdhouses multiplied. A fence turned neon blue. Kids wore deed-dude hats. A news van rolled in, airing a segment that shredded Monica's vision. The town intervened, dissolving her network for shady fundraising. Monica vanished. Her house sold to a couple who hung a rainbow flag. A note arrived. I thought I was saving something. I was wrong. Sorry. I filed it away, sat with Rusty, and soaked in the calm. Cedar Ridge thrived: murals, potlucks, no rules. The town asked me to advise on community governance. I sent a tongue-in-cheek anti-coalition manual, Rusty stories included. At a barbecue, with laughter and no clipboards, I saw what a neighborhood could be: messy, free, alive.